All right, so we're getting a pretty good audience here. I think there's certainly enough to start the party. Anybody opposed to getting the party started now? No? Okay. All right, good. All right, cool. So just quick introduction of myself and why I've put this on your calendars. I'm Calvin, founder of a tech company called Improver. We help CI leaders to create cultures of kaizen through training, certification, and also providing tools to help manage projects, scale CI mindset, CI behavior patterns, principles, etc. So, all right, but the reason we're all here today is to talk about how you guys are using artificial intelligence to further your continuous improvement agenda. So, thought it might be a great discussion to talk about. I think it was Edge who just mentioned that this is something that's on his mind, and I imagine it's on everybody's mind. So, you guys are all out there doing great work. So why not come together and talk about what you're doing, what you're seeing, what you're learning, share, and we can all learn from each other as continuous improvement professionals. So, so we go start it off. We go open it up wide. We changed the format a little bit for this. We used to kind of do introductions and then get into challenges and all that, and kind of level set on the challenge and take it from there. But I think now we're starting with the topic already decided. And the topic, of course, is AI and CI. So I want to hear from you guys. Who wants to get us started and share something interesting you're doing with artificial intelligence that the others in the room might find interesting? What do you think? All right, Rick, you want to get us jump started? What
Well,
are you doing with AI? What's working? What's not working? What are you thinking?
so what I'm doing with AI is not so much, and that's why I'm attending this thing to find out what everybody's doing. But I will say, one of the 6 consulting companies that I worked with adopted AI in their proposal writing, and they literally reduced it from about 3 weeks to about 2 hours.
Hmm.
They fed all of
Interesting.
their proposals to the AI program and said, how should we write? And the reason was they had a new proposal that come up, and you know how this works, right? You got to have your proposal to the client by 5 o'clock today.
Mm.
So, what they did was they inputted all of their previous proposals, like 20, 30 sub proposals, and then they calibrated the ones that won and the ones that didn't win, and if there were any changes, and they did all of that with the program. And then they said, okay, we got to write one by 5 o'clock. Here's the parameters that the client wants. And the thing wrote the whole thing for him in about 30 minutes. A couple
Jeez,
of
that's
changes,
amazing.
this, that, and the other. So it went from 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, which we know proposals sometimes take that long because the different people work on it. And it just used everything they had done and created the template for the
Mm.
proposal, and it made sure that it was English correct, so grammar was not a problem. And it just went in there and took all the requirements and placed them in the right place and set it all up. And they said they went through it. I think we reviewed it. Took us about 15 minutes to go over it, made sure it looked okay, and it did. It looked like we had written it. So it was like, okay, let's submit it, and sure enough, it won. So
That's incredible, and it's a little bit scary too, right? Because
no, not
that's
scary at all, because
no, that's good.
no, because that's the right use of something that will optimize our ability to get a sale in
Yeah.
continuous improvement or Lean Six Sigma in the way we coach. Sometimes it's hard to know exactly what to write or how to write it, and this thing is a gem because
Mm.
it's helping them all kinds of ways. It eliminates the non-value added waste of creating the
Hmm.
proposal.
I
Hmm.
couldn't agree more, Rick. I think about just, you know, product descriptions, even writing emails, just simple things like that. I have no problem using AI just to sort of coach me in that and write something a little bit
Yep.
better. And then sometimes I'll run it through Grammarly too, which is also another AI agent, but specifically for grammar.
Yeah.
And I have the paid version. Um, I find both of those incredibly powerful because it allows me to go, oh, this is the assistant I couldn't hire.
That's right.
You
I
know?
agree, Ed. I agree. The other thing is whenever I have working sessions with my client, with my green belts and my black belts, and we do a working session,
Hmm.
we always record it now.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, it spits out a summary, and we just send it to everybody, and they're all like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
So
I
it's
think,
like nobody has to take notes.
right. think about that. And I think it's also much better at taking the notes than most
Oh
note
yeah.
takers are.
Mhm.
I always
yeah.
thought I was good, and then I was like, wow, this is so much better. And to your point, you can summarize it, or if somebody even does some other video and there's something not on there, you can run that through the engine, and all of a sudden it can spit out stuff for you. So there's a lot of power there.
So Rick, follow up on that, right? So there are, as a consulting firm, are they using a dedicated application for that, or are they just going straight into Chat GPT or Gemini or
That's
some
what they're
other
doing.
AI
They're going
engine?
straight into Chat GPT.
Really? So wait a minute, they don't have it fenced off.
Nope.
That's interesting, because then so they're actually teaching ChatGPT about themselves, which in theory, if you're out there, could go, oh, by the way, I found this other information from these other companies. So
It makes it interesting, but they figured everybody else is going to do it anyway, so they just took the front end. And I
Yeah.
don't disagree with them. I think that's absolutely true. And as far as taking notes for meetings, I think that's amazing. When I started to see the summaries from the working sessions that I had with these guys and we shared them, they were like, "Oh man, I forgot we talked about that," or "Hey, look at the detail that was." It did a good job summarizing, as you said, Ed. A
Yeah.
very good job summarizing, way better than, I mean, I thought I was good too, and
Yeah.
but
I'm not that good.
I'd rather have AI do it and we all work instead of somebody has to take notes,
Right. Yeah.
like it used to be. This is
Well,
great. This
the
is
other
an
problem
automatic note taker.
as a note taker, sometimes you miss things,
Yeah.
even in the conversation. It's not so much
Yep.
I missed the note, but I'm not really paying attention. I'm paying attention to the note taking. So I can't necessarily give my feedback. I can't coach at that moment. Yeah, it frees up your hands, or it frees up your mind, if you will.
It also integrates the documents. If you're using diagrams or if you're on a whiteboard with the team or if you're working on things, it'll integrate that stuff into the notes.
Oh, really? Didn't know
Yeah.
that. Oh, that's cool.
Very cool. So that's my 2 cents.
So just to add a thought to that, Rick, is we use AI, where applicable as much as we can, and we're integrating more and more AI into our own thing. But I found that the better quality of information that you feed into AI, source data, prompting, tell it as much as you can tell it, almost damn near to a good solid first draft already, and let AI create a great second draft. Right? That's
a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I've kind of learned to use AI more effectively by giving
So,
it more good quality source material.
so my goal for attending this is to find out how can I use AI in the coaching and analysis that I conduct when I work with my client to improve their business processes. And
Yeah.
are there ways? So that's what I'm interested in. Now I'm going to shut up and I'm going to listen for the rest of the hour.
Well, good. That's a great kickoff. I appreciate the ideas and the energy, Rick. So who else is using it? I know everybody's using it, so there's nobody in here that hasn't gotten in there yet. So who else has an interesting use case that they think others would want to know about?
Yeah, I'll go next. And mind you, we are in very early days of this. Now, mind you, so at Analog, if you're not familiar with us, consider us like a Texas Instruments in that respect. We're in the chip business. Obviously, artificial intelligence is huge. We actually, pair our software with chips as well too. So because of that, there's no fear of AI here. It's been embedded for ages. But there's a huge push to make sure that it's not just in the engineering functions, that it's being used in HR, finance, what have you. And so there's some really cool cases that are out there. That being said, we have multiple AI tools. Like there's an experiment at u.com. We have our own instance of Copilot as well too. And then we also have this other one that's called Nadia. It's created by Valence, and you might not be familiar with it, but it's more sort of in the HR coaching space. So the idea is it's used primarily for coaching for like managers and so forth. And at first I was sort of like, yeah, why do I need that? I got ChatGPT, I got Copilot, I can do all those things. Well, in a recent call that we had about how to use the tool, we started recognizing, and I met with some of the folks who are in the learning and development group who actually own this tool. Sort of said, well, I have this huge scalability issue. 24,000 employees throughout the company, and I am responsible for half of those. And that's in, finance, HR, and so forth. So how do I train 24 or 12,000 people, right? Do I make a bunch of videos and they go and attend them and so forth? And the more I thought about that is, no, you'd want it to be not, hey, I have to go watch like hours of training and do all this. Wouldn't you want an AI coach? So why don't we just develop an agent and do that? And so that's one of the things that we're going to do, we'll start working with, and hopefully in the next month or so. But I actually can show you some very preliminary stuff that I was able to do in actually in Copilot itself. So, it's just food for thought. But the reality, Calvin, back to your point. So I haven't fed this thing, but I have some prompts, and I can't really show much past that. But the thing is, once you sort of feed the beast, you say, hey, go and check this source material, give those levels of code, if you will, which it really isn't code. You're just writing English. Then it's off. It's running. So if you mind, I'll share my screen real fast.
Yeah, a little show and tell. Go for it.
Yeah. Let's see, which one am I doing now? Yeah.
So it's come to my understanding that everybody is either on Microsoft, right, which comes with Copilot, or you're on the Google, which comes with Gemini. So probably everybody on this call has access to an AI engine,
right?
And to various degrees of usage. But yeah, go ahead, Edge.
And I think this is where it comes in. It's no different than like the early days of Excel, right? We were all excited about Excel. Hey, you could do all this cool stuff. But once you could actually start writing macros and having the spreadsheet do other work for you, so you don't have to do all those calculations or run certain scripts. And that's the thing here too. Like literally, I wrote this a couple days ago, and it's nothing fancy. There's no, like I said, it doesn't have a lot in here as of now. This is very early days. But you're able to create your own, you can actually go and create a whole new agent. You have to have a certain license to do this. So, talk to your respective companies. But you can go in and edit. Let's just assume this goes through quickly. Sorry for seeing it live. But, so the idea is, I give a little bit of description. I can then feed all this information in, right? So I want to make sure I have like our form of the waste and so forth. I can actually then say, what knowledge base do you want to go after? So I can actually enter in URLs and so forth. It depends on how it's set up. And then from there, I can actually then put in various prompts, and it will then create these pathways. So, hey, I have a problem. Okay, so let's go to this. And what I'll do is then figure out, like I said, we're going to have another company do this because we already pay them. So instead of me going off and spending days and days doing this, let's let the professional prompt engineers do this. But the point is, you can do this. And then you could say, okay, well, these are the frameworks I want you to consider when it's this type of problem, or these are the tools that you suggest when you see this type of problem. So you can create these guardrails very quickly. And right now, unfortunately, with Copilot is very wordy and it needs to be shorter. So that's some of the elements here. But like I said, it's not hard to set up. You can get into all sorts of elements of, you can update the agent itself this way. So instead of saying, oh, shoot, that didn't work, and you go back in the configuration engine, you can say, well, update it this way, and then save that. And then, of course, you can experiment and try it as well, too. And like I said, I've created these 3 prompts that sort of sit out here. Once again, very early days. I don't have a lot to show here, but this
I like this a lot, and I've been putting a lot of thought. We're putting some work into something similar to this. We've got a good prototype. But the question I have for you, Edge, is it's one thing for you to know this is sitting out there, right, in your Copilot app. It's another thing for the person who needs this to know, know it's sitting out there and available to them. B, make the effort to go get coaching. How do you see like where are you going with that? Like
that's where the slam dunk's going to happen with going with the other tool, because the other tool is company approved. The one by Valence, it's company approved, and the instant already sits in Microsoft Teams, which is our preferred way of doing it. So it would just be an additional app that we would then start championing and broadcasting that you should start using this. And so we have various communication channels globally. that I would work with the communications team to actually do that. So I go from Meta's coaching to, hey, guess what? You have a free agent, and this is what's going to guide you to do. The other benefit is that it doesn't have to just be my stuff. Like our factories and fabs, they have Confluence pages, they have SharePoint sites and all this stuff. We're going to feed all that in there as well too, and then also say, because most of this stuff's pretty standard, go and use what already you know on the web as well, with a few guardrails. One of my pet peeves, of course, is about the waste and like how many actually are there. Because you start seeing people put down like 12 or 15 or all that stuff. Like, let's just make it simple. So that's a methodology, and so actually broadcasting it won't be that hard, because it'll actually, like I said, it'll be an app that will actually show up in their team's environment.
Yeah, that's good. I like that a lot. You could probably feed like Toyota Kata style coaching right into that too, right?
Bingo. Yeah, and I think what we're gonna, we might try to do. Let's see. I'll stop presenting right now. The thought process also is that, can we have like what is that guy's name? Fetterman technique, or the idea that the way that you can actually become a coach is that you have to teach the bot. You have to tell the bot what are the steps, and it actually can then go and say, are you actually doing this? And where you have knowledge gaps, the bot would then come back and train you on that. Yeah. So we can actually go from, hey, we only have a few experts, so now we have many experts, because people are actually spending some time learning that and getting better and doing it through this. And, eventually maybe we go and have them take exams and so forth. But that's at least the initial thought. So more to come.
Yeah, that's good. I'll be keep us posted. Like, keep me posted. I want to see how that's working. I know another challenge, like, because we do a lot with coaching too, and the thing we run into is like the big elephant in the room when it comes to coaching is discipline.
And oh my gosh, it's so true.
It's just like somebody exercising and trying to get fit. Is 80% of it is showing up to the gym. And
this is true.
A lot of time, people who need to get fit don't have the discipline of showing up to the gym, right?
Well,
so
the one thing is that the good news, when you have the internal bots and you have these agents, you actually get metrics.
That's
so now you can actually create a dashboard, see who's using it, where it's being used, stuff like that. Rick, I'm sorry, I see your hand up.
You read my mind. Actually, my question was going to be that you can also create a learning for the bot, for the whole system, so that you can find out if your coaching is effective and how to make it more effective, depending on the criteria you use. You can evaluate your coaching plan and then hone it in. And you also might want to hone it in for different departments. The guys working on purchasing are going to have different approaches than the guys working on design, or the guys trying to get product out the door or service customers. So there might be different kinds of CI projects. And also especially with Lean Six Sigma tools, we try to optimize using DOE. So those applications make sense.
And that's a great point, because we run the width of it, right? Like, there are a lot of sort of just do it's here that might exist in like it's existing in HR and existing in finance. Like, you see it, just go fix it. That does not exist in the fab, because they have gone all, they're hardcore into Six Sigma. They are doing design of experiment on a regular basis. They have ISO regulations. They have a different level of understanding. So I would then want to make sure, like, have you updated the standard work? As opposed to saying, hey, by the way, here's how you do standard work. They already know what standard work is. Have you updated? What have you done? Have you updated your process map? As opposed to, somebody in HR going, I don't know how to do a process map. So making sure you're meeting everybody where they are. Yeah.
From a CI perspective, you can assess how well you're using the tools, the Lean Six Sigma tools, such as DOE. Are we effective? And if we're not, where are we not effective? And where could we actually ratchet up a few things in terms of, if I have to do a screening and then a full up, or is there a way for AI to tell me based on that, can I save some money and go right to a full up, for example, on a DOE?
Ooh, that's a really good point.
To an L4, can I just get to the L4? Will it be able to save me that money? Because that's expensive.
It's super expensive, especially in our industry. It can be,
especially with chips, especially where you are.
Oh yeah, trust me. Just the idea of like start losing wafers, and it's like, ooh, that's not good. So this is great. Yeah, thank you, Rick. I
So
appreciate it.
in line with that, right? Tools, application, and then you got Lean and Six Sigma tools. Does anybody have a good a good example of how they're using AI to support people in the use of Lean tools? This may be an area for a lot of opportunity, really, right? Because
That's why we're here, I think.
yeah,
To learn
yeah,
about
fair
what
enough.
So I might have an example,
Yeah.
but it's a little earlier in my career. We used to do statistical process control to be able to track the 200-day moving average, and we'd have some really intricate macros to be able to schedule that. Yeah, I'm just, the light bulb's going off in my head that how would you use AI to calculate that?
Yeah, I know early on with the AI models, they weren't great at math. I think they've gotten a lot better as of recent. Like I had a meeting with a guy today who needed to do a regression analysis, right? He's trying to start up a new ultrasound quality machine to replace a destructive testing on a welding process that they have, right? They do destructive testing. They're trying to go to inline non-destructive testing using
Yep.
ultrasound. And the machine wasn't accurate, right? It wasn't giving a good indicator as to whether or not a weld might break out in the field later. And he was about ready to throw it away. And really, what we needed to do was a correlation analysis to see how well the ultrasound correlated with the actual stress test, right? We just dropped it in the pilot and said, "Hey, pilot, give us the correlation analysis." Drop the columns into pilot, and it within a matter of seconds spit out, a R squared value, which
Right.
I thought was pretty cool, right? I don't know if it was accurate, but it was it was convenient. I'll take
Yeah.
it, right?
Some I have to admit, sometimes you got to check the math, but I think it's gotten a lot better. And
Yeah.
the and traditionally it's writing in Python, so that coding ability has gotten better as well. So it's good to see. Yeah,
I've heard that Claude was really taking the lead
Claude is out
on
there. Yeah,
it's on another level.
yeah,
Because I guess there's Claude, there's ChatGPT, there's Gemini, and there's also Grok.
But Claude is through Anthropic.
exactly.
Claude is through Anthropic. That's right. And I've heard that Claude was really, especially enterprise AI, was really the one that's kind of standing out as the leader. Anybody got a different experience on that?
I haven't used it, but I hear the same thing. And definitely within the circles of because
So
we have
So
some AI.
my wife is an engineer for the Navy, and they just adopted Anthropic. So she's been giving me
Mhm.
a whole rundown on the capabilities, and it seems to be the best. Uh,
Mhm.
she gets to a level that's much more technical than I can keep up with. But that's why when I hear Gemini and OneNote and all this other stuff, it's how does that compare to Anthropic?
So when it comes to continuous improvement, though, right? And I've heard great things about Google's LM Notebook also. If you guys haven't seen that, I highly encourage you to go play around with that because it lets you upload source files and create new stuff off of that. Even videos, you can upload a video of somebody doing the job, and it'll create the standard work of that based on that video, right? Um, but I see two major applications of AI within CI, and I'm curious to know if you guys have done anything with this. One is the use of tools, right? How do you suppose, proper use of the tool, coaching people through using tools, helping them get unstuck. I heard of an example recently where somebody was doing a 5 why and they plugged, hey, how should we be thinking about this issue? And it helped them get unstuck and get to a good root cause. That's one. The other one is the triggering of lean activity. Traditionally, we have tier meetings, we have gimbal walks, we go walk the floor. If something's in red, we might trigger a root cause, we might trigger a follow-up action. Think possibly there's another great AI application to look at all the data and say, we should do a DMAIC over here. We should do a fishbone over here. We should do A3 over here, right? I see that as another potential application. Anybody got any ideas like or experience with those types of things? Just a thought.
Calvin, I'll jump in here a little bit.
Yeah.
Something that our organization is working through is we've identified 12 foundational elements for our lean journey. We're going through 5 of them now. We're calling it our CI roadmaps, our core value drivers, visual daily management, so our tiered huddle structure, 6S, and our problem solving. And so those are the 5 that we're starting with. And so as we're doing that, we're building what we're calling almost like a 30,000 foot view of what each of those means. So, a handful of slides on what it is, why we do it, what's important, giving a little bit of background in it. And then we've got a more comprehensive training that we'll be building to help support that, almost like a train the trainer, so that they can go out into the business and do it. And I would say that I've got a lot of content creation and training in my background. And so as a couple of things that I'm working on, as it relates to problem solving, and I'm doing a little bit of side work on Gemba walks for different levels of leadership. And I'm using AI to help me create some of that content, just to see, how does that compare to how I would train it or how I've trained it in the past. And I would say that it's pretty similar, I would say. We use Copilot to help do that. So I don't play around with AI a whole lot, but those are some things that I'm starting to explore is, instead of me, at this new organization, creating stuff that I've used for years, trying to pull it together, can it just take our company PowerPoint and the way that we talk and the tools that we have, and can it create a training faster than I could?
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
I'm kind of testing it that way. But I'm very much on the front end of AI. I'm not a techie person. I'm kind of an old soul, so I'm trying to figure all this stuff out too on myself. So I appreciate
Good.
what was shared about Copilot, because that's what we use. And I was just kind of looking at what access and licensing rights that I've got for that, so I can explore some of these things that are being shared.
Good. I think that's great. I mean, you got to kind of just jump in and try to figure out how to swim, right, for a lot of this stuff. So, are you using Copilot to create like PowerPoint decks or Word documents or videos, or how far have you gotten in terms of like the output?
Yeah, PowerPoint. I've run a few things through, having it create some Excel tracking, data things as well. So yeah, it's pretty similar to how I would do it. It just creates it a whole lot faster.
For sure. Right.
Yeah.
And like we were saying, like the quality output is impacted greatly by the quality of input, right? Depends on what you're feeding into it, kind of drives what you get out of it, which is pretty cool. Well, good. Yeah, keep us posted, man. If you stumble onto something incredible, surprising, I'm wide open, man. Let me know. Curious to learn.
Yep, will do.
Anything else? Anything else interesting? Like what are you guys doing? Luis, what are you got going on with AI? I know you were forward thinker when it comes to lean and continuous improvement and Six Sigma, all that. So how far have you gotten with it?
Well, certainly not anywhere to the level that I've heard right now. You guys are, beyond the regular Joe here, but we've been using to develop some training content, right? Online training content to be able to deliver to the masses. Hence, like the 12,000 to the 24,000 employee, and trying to use some tools out there. If you're familiar with Synthesia, right? That's a new application that, through text, it will, choose your avatar. And we're using AI, just like Copilot or ChatGPT, to help refine the script, right? Okay, we want to teach 5S or, root cause problem solving basics. And, you draft that out there, and we're using either the Copilot or ChatGPT platform to to better describe, just fine tune that so that when we feed it to an application like Synthesia, it comes out a little bit more refined and more professional looking than if we try to just like, I write the text over there, because all these tools are as good as the prompt is there. So we're just using a little bit of that to help emphasize or save a lot of time too, trying to edit and draft these tools, like you guys said, right? The assistant you couldn't hire, right? You're not going to hire somebody else to do this for you, but we're leveraging the tools to, cut down cycle time and how we produce these, because we have a pretty big slate of these modules that we want to create between now and the end of the year. So, are we going to get better at doing these? For sure, but we have to definitely leverage and utilize these tools to the best of their ability, right? They're time savers, right? They're not here to replace knowledge content, but they're going to certainly help us produce a better product.
I see. So you said go into the masses. So you're creating the content in like PowerPoint or some of the document format, and you're going to manually deliver the training, or is the system delivering the training automatically, or how does that part work?
Well, we're doing our own internal, learning modules, right? So that you can sign up for them. Okay, I want to learn how to do, root cause problem solving. It just introduces you to simple stuff like fishbone, 5Y, and some, is not stuff. So, creating that takes a lot of time and a lot of resources, but using these tools is definitely shaving down the cycle time to be able to produce an output. It might take 4 or 5 months to do something like this, and we're trying to see if we can turn it around in 6 weeks or less.
Gotcha. Good. So I'm hearing like training, I'm hearing data analysis, I'm hearing general content creation, proposal development. I'm hearing I guess this is maybe me saying this, is there's a possible application with helping people use tools better, right? Is there anything else out there that maybe we haven't touched on yet?
And coaching.
The coaching, yep, big time. Coaching.
I'm really curious to hear about how AI can affect forecast accuracy.
You know what? I feel like that's a massive one, right? Because of all the variables that goes into forecasting, it seems like perhaps AI could do that better than human beings.
I've sat down with the Samsung CEO and given him presentations. Very last question, he asked me, what problems do I have? First answer was forecast accuracy. He turned around, chuckled, and said, he's like, I deal with that every day. You're going to deal with it for the rest of your life. How do we solve for that?
We could just go just in time, right, on everything, right? Perfectly lean out the whole business and go JIT, but then we got to deal with reality. So that's the different, right?
Well, I think AI, you talked about data, right? To me, we deal a lot with big data, and we literally pulled so much data out of the system that it took 4 Excel spreadsheets to get all the data out of it. Of course, you can't do all the analysis, so I was able to upload all of that data into ChatGPT, and it sliced and diced the data in such a way that not only did it tell me what it was for warehouse, how much product was going through on a monthly basis, who was ordering those products. It literally went to a point where it sliced and diced it, gave me one Excel spreadsheet that summarized it all. It wanted to know about, do you want me to calculate all your min maxes? Do you want me to do the sourcing? Do you want me to do all? So it's amazing how much it can do that we don't realize. I mean, a lot of this stuff I would do it myself, and sure, I can slice and dice it myself. It did it in minutes.
That's amazing.
And created the charts, created everything for me to a point where I said, create me a pivot chart where I can pull up the part. It's going to show me that and show me what it looks like over time. So.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Good to see you, by the way, Brian. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But you're touching on something that I think is the next generation of enterprise AI, right? Because you've got probably an ocean of data sitting inside ERPs and warehouse management systems and quality management and finance management. Like any type of manager, you probably got a software system that's got a bunch of data sitting out there, right? And then there's all the files you got sitting in directories also, right? I think and I think probably Claude is going to get there before anybody else, but it seems like a natural progression to have an AI sitting on top of all that data. And just like you can go into ChatGPT or Pilot and ask a question, you can do that about proprietary internal company data, right, at some point soon, and it'll go through all of the company's data and give you a very specific answer, right? I feel like that's what's coming next.
That's here. That's here today. If you have,
That's
if
already
you have your own, yeah, if you have your own server and you have your own instance of Claude, ChatGPT, whatever, you can force it to not look outside, but only look inside and slice and dice your own data. And we're doing that already. We're
Is that right?
we're looking for all those opportunities within our company right now.
That's
And
interesting. Good to
Yeah,
know.
that's how our company is set up that way, Brian. We've got web version Copilot and we've got internal, right? So we've got two different tabs. And so I know that other areas of the business are using it more broadly from an enterprise perspective, like our global customer care team. So we've got 40,000 employees around the globe. And so we have a global customer care team of like 400 or 500 people. And they have an internal base where they can ask a question, like what's the lead time for our, engineer drive gearbox, and it will pull information and give it to them. Right. So they don't have to contact the plant and they don't have to,
right.
Right.
like it's pulling that
That's
information
brilliant.
and will tell them instantly. So even though I'm not exploring with it so much on the on the CI side of it as much, we do have an enterprise IT team that's done some pretty amazing things with it.
That is exciting. So at some
Yeah.
so man, I don't know if you have access to that or not, but could you go in and ask how many people work for the company right now today, and it give you an answer or something like that?
Mm-hmm. I've definitely done that. Brian, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So definitely, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm wondering though, is that something that you guys have to kick off on a regular basis, or have you thought about, making sort of putting into Power Automate so it already, kicks off the agent at a certain time so it automatically updates dashboards?
That's the ultimate goal. We're starting at the beginning, saying, okay, let's pull the data first and do it. Eventually, I don't want to pull data. I want to create an agent where I
Right.
just give the info. You ask the agent what you need, and it'll automatically pull right from the data lake. So that way we don't have to have that intermediary. I got to download everything. So
Right.
we're just starting out, but again, we're creating agents as we go. I actually created an agent for lean certification, internal lean certification.
There we go. Calvin,
So
right there.
yep. So I literally it's based off of specific criteria that I want the agent to only look at. Because when they're going to get certified, they only want to be certified with you want them to answer it the right way rather than whatever's out in the ether.
Exactly.
And so it forces them so that you can ask it any questions and it automatically comes back with, it's in this part of the syllabus. Look into these specific books, only these specific books. Here's an answer. And if you want an example, I can give you an example. And so I've got an agent built that way. And as we're certifying people, they just ask the question with the agent. Makes it simple.
At some point, Brian, I might want to connect with you offline to talk a little bit more about that because we're also in the early stages. I was just giving a quick demo of some stuff we're doing. Are you doing that all in Copilot, or is that
all in Copilot? Our company has Claude, it has Copilot, and it has ChatGPT. I'm actually I did it all in ChatGPT, but because everybody doesn't have a ChatGPT license, I built it there, and then I brought it into Copilot Studio, created it in Copilot Studio, and now everybody has access to it.
Interesting.
That's very cool. Well, thank you. Yeah, definitely. I'll connect with you on that.
Man, I got your comment.
Why did you do it in two different systems?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Why did you decide to do it in two different systems?
Copilot is much better. I'm sorry, ChatGPT is much better than Copilot to start with. So I went with ChatGPT to give me the best solution. And then I had to go back and put it into Copilot because all of our, we call them creators here, all of our creators, where I work at Light and Wonder, they all have access to Copilot. They don't all have access to ChatGPT or Claude. So that's the reason why I said, okay, let's build it here. I know it works. It's foolproof. Now I can put it in there.
Thank
That's
you.
pretty cool. You guys can kind of build agents on demand. That's pretty cool too. Curious to know how reliable they are. Are they pretty spot
I
on, or hit or miss, or how
you know me, Calvin. I gave it to every person that I could on my team as well as others and said, break this, please break this.
There you go.
And no one's been able to break it yet. And the answers are dead on. So
There you go. Love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So Matt, you're sharing your screen. What's happening?
Yep. So again, just looking at, right. So I'm on the work tab, and then you've got the web tab, right? So when I search here, right, this pulls information internally, right? So for our customer care, I don't know what they would do to prompt that, right? But they've got right, the two different tabs to work from. And so when I asked that question, how many employees work here, right? It knew the company. And then it gives a breakdown of current employees as of December 31st, and then context for background. And we're three companies that have merged together. So Regal, Rexnerd, and Ultra Motion. So that's probably a little bit of context that's important there. Yeah.
That is interesting. That's pretty cool. I see it's got like a December 31st snapshot. I'm wondering if it can pull like real time also from somewhere, right? Because I guess it'd need access to like maybe an HR system or something in order to say real time.
That's
Yeah,
the big thing right there.
And we just upgraded
tied into
ours.
Workday or something like that. And actually, that's
Right.
something our PC team is actually doing right now. Is exactly what you showed there, Matt. Is making it so PC has that ability to poke into Workday and pull all the data out and slice it and dice it the way they need to.
So Brian, I don't know if you would be involved in this conversation, but I'm curious to know how the IT team or data cybersecurity team is evaluating what information is too sensitive to include in the, like how are they making those kind of decisions?
Yeah, we're doing a huge AI effort right now at Light and Wonder. We actually hired a consultant in to come in and help us out, to help us understand all of those things. From a cybersecurity standpoint, we have to lock it down.
Sure.
We create games, we create casino games. I'll just so you guys know. So we create, if you go out there and play on a slot machine, we're one of them, okay? And so that content that we create has to be, we can't just go and have the art people go and create some art based off of something in ChatGPT or something like that. You can do that from a concept perspective, but once you do that, it's already out there and we can't license it. So that's where our cybersecurity, everybody else is really working hard to ensure, as well as legal, to ensure that we're taking all the right steps and not overstepping our boundaries.
So it's the whole thing. How big is the company you work for? How many employees?
We're worldwide, and probably, I don't know, 5,000. So it's not huge in terms of number of people. It's huge in terms of the number of the money that comes in. I'm just saying. So
So y'all get all the best toys first. Is that what you're saying? That's why y'all have like all the AI models and all that.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's a good place to play, right? And good playground to play in.
Yep.
Good. Very cool. Appreciate you sharing that, Brian.
Yep.
Just something else here, Calvin. So this is, again, our global customer care team. So when Regal, Rexnerd, and Ultra merged, right, we've, like, all of the customer care folks kind of worked and lived in the plants. So now we've globalized that. And so when somebody, in one division specialized in this product and this part, right, like when we centralized them, they lost all of that, right? And so when somebody calls in for a quote, right, and they don't know anything about this V class, they're gonna be like, well, I gotta go contact the plant, right? And so now we can use this like this to say, hey, what's what's the lead time on our V class unit, right? And now for this class, right, and this size, it's 8 weeks, and they have this in seconds.
That's great. I'm wondering, take this a step further, is can you build this into a chat bot right on your website where, perhaps it's filtering what information is too sensitive and maybe excluding that, but everything else it can maybe feed right to the public through a chat bot or something like that, right? Where you can self-service a little better.
So customer care is working on chatbot agents themselves to help with that.
There you go.
I know that that's something they're working on. But yeah, I've used this too for, we're hiring a bunch of CI folks. And so I've used this to help me develop a technical skill assessment for a continuous improvement professional. And it gives me different questions based on expertise, right? So if I'm looking for a specialist, right, it gives me some basic questions, right? If I'm looking for a CI, senior manager, it's going to ask more in-depth questions, right? So it did a really good job of separating out the technical skills you would ask based on your level of experience. So I've also used it for a little bit of that.
All right, Matt, I'm gonna ask you a potentially dangerous question, but I gotta ask the question, right? Since we all here, we're talking, is AI agents, right? You guys are hiring CI people. Is there a possibility, is there a world where AI agents can do some or a bunch of the work that the CI people you might be hiring or you want them to do, right? How far can AI go into the CI space?
Here's what I think.
I'm just curious what you think.
Here's what I think. Because I've been asked and challenged on this too, right, is AI going to replace us? And I think the short answer is no, because AI can't think critically.
Okay.
Right? AI can go see, right? Like you said, you can take a video, you can spit it in there, and it can create a standard work document, right? But somebody still has to have eyes on that to think critically, to understand the variation that can also happen within that process, right? So I think the critical thinking component is the differentiator between what we do and what AI can do. Now, do I think that it can, like you kicked off the question, can it do a bunch of the things that we do? Yes. Can it create a 6S training PowerPoint in 16 seconds? Yes. Right. And then I can just take it and I can go. And I don't, right. But I still have to think critically of, is this the right content? Is this the right audience? What tweaks do I have to make? Right. So I still think, generally speaking, the critical thinking component across the board is the differentiator.
You still need the human in the loop, as they call it, right?
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, at a high level, that's what I think.
So I 100% agree with that, but I also think that as a continuous improvement professional, you need to learn AI, and those that don't. So CI professionals that use AI will replace those that don't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, it's just a problem with somebody.
You hit the nail on the head. You're absolutely right. It's an enabler for us to be able to bring that tool, in addition to the Lean Six Sigma tools, to the table, because it accelerates. The key is that people want to use it because it will accelerate that problem solving. You look at a green belt project or a black belt project, they want it done, now it takes a couple of months or weeks, and they want it, with AI, we might be able to accelerate that so it takes a lot less time. The thing that Matt's talking about, and I wanted to expand on what you said, Matt, it's interesting. You can actually teach AI to think critically at a base level in terms of deciding what's the right tool and how to apply it. Where it gets interesting is where you're talking about the strategy of a business and whether and the vision that the business leader has in terms of where they want to go. They have to decide if they want to increase margin or expand into different markets or create a new technology. That's not something AI is going to do. And when you're talking about where we come in, if you're trying to design or break into a new market or a technology and you're trying to design a better business process, we bring the tools and techniques of understanding how that process end to end works and how to measure it and manage it and optimize it within the space, that's the tools that we could bring. You couple that with somebody who then has to decide, where do I want to go with this business and how do I want to do it? That's not something AI is going to provide. You can ask it options, but you still have to make that decision and take those steps in that direction. So it's a definitely a marriage, but I completely agree with James. And that's why I'm on this call, because I need to learn more about AI. I need to learn more about how to apply it. I'm watching my colleagues, talk about it. And there's some people, we got a green belt who lives in Power BI, and he understands how to code it. He's already applying AI into it. So he's got data understanding. And, somebody mentioned, I don't want to have to go get data. I want to ask a question and have the system go find out from the data what the answer is and provide options to me. So that's where you got to go. This guy's already headed there. So I'm like playing catch up with this guy. And he's a client of mine. And so I agree. The more we understand and can apply AI futuristic going forward, that's going to have to be a game changer. It's going to be on our resume. We're going to either be able to do it or not.
100%.
So I agree. I totally agree, guys.
I was going to say there's two things real quick, Kelvin, and that is, number one, I'm going to be hiring a new person, and I had a job rec out previously. We pulled it back. I'm going to put out a new job rec, and I'm changing it to add to ensure that AI, they know something about AI. They have at least some knowledge, some background, so that they're able to actually utilize AI in an efficient way. That's the first thing. Second thing is, when we talk about how at least we're implementing AI at Light and Wonder, a big portion of that is that AI is going to take some of the work that the people are doing today. They will not be doing it anymore. The where AI fails is whatever's left over. Nobody ever grabs that stuff. It just falls to the wayside, and then all of a sudden AI is useless. So that's where, in my opinion, lean comes in. We come in, we help them from an AI engineer perspective. We help them understand the process as it is today. What portion of that process is going to go to AI, and whatever's left over, we help them build the new process so it doesn't fall to the wayside and nobody does it. We have a new process in place, and we are upskilling the people to think from the top of their head down, not from their shoulders down. So we're paying them to think. So just that's our approach.
So somebody like to recap on that, right? It's AI will solve part of the problem. You need people to solve the whole problem.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
They may use AI to get to 75, 80% mark, but you need somebody that's going to own it all the way to 100%, right?
Yep.
Matt, you got another thought on that?
Yeah, just listening to you guys, and now some of you guys are getting into this stuff. And like I said, I'm not a techie person, so where do you start and how do you find the time to do it? Right, that's what I'm struggling with. Is like, I know I need to do it, right? Because I know that, right? I want to be on the front end of that curve, and I'm like, that time is already slipping by, right? So in my mind, it's with everything on our plates, or at least things that I've got on my plate, it's like I just don't have the time to research it and learn it. So I guess what have you found helpful in that, useful? Have you taken LinkedIn classes? Are you just Googling it? Like how are you learning it?
It's I think it's like the early days of the internet. You just use it. But here's the thing that's even weirder, is I actually sometimes will ask the bots, hey, what's a better approach for me to do this? And it will, it's all of a sudden, it's that best assistant you never knew you needed to hire. And it comes back with great ways of how to approach this. So do that. We also, I have to admit, we have some community groups in our Viva Engage that focus on this stuff. And I follow that and I learn new things. And then I'm blown away by our software engineers. They're at a whole nother level. And I'm glad I work where I do, because they're on the leading front. It's always good. But yeah, that's my advice. Just go in and wait around.
So I could throw in my 2 cents here as well. Just ask AI to give you a syllabus or a curriculum of the top 10 things you can do for your niche of your industry, specifically to what you're doing, and then dive deeper.
Hmm.
Once
There's
you
a
have
good
the
chance
topics, dive deeper.
there's a good chance that maybe 20 to 50% of what you do, AI could do probably faster, better, cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Easily.
the,
And I'm
100%.
and I was gonna say I'm watching another AI thing on my other screen here while we're talking this, and this conference that I'm listening to, the guy, two people so far have done this, which has helped them out a ton, and they created an AI chief of staff.
Mhm.
And so I actually have the prompt that they put together here, and you put that prompt in there, you explain everything you do, how you do it, all those types of things on a daily basis, and on a daily basis it will prompt you, tell you what you need to know and what you should be doing, what you should be working on. They said it's the thing that's helped them out the most. So I kind of went, I never thought of that, but it's like, wow, that's amazing
Hmm.
stuff.
All right, so we're 2 minutes from closing time, and amazing conversation. I'm glad you guys made time to show up because I'm picking up some game from you too, and hope everybody's learning something from this session. So, just a little housekeeping. We actually got an event coming up next week where we demo some of the stuff we're doing at Improver because, in part, I have an interest of hearing how you guys are using AI so that we can maybe create some solutions too on the software side for Improver, but also just to share kind of some things we're learning as well. So I'll send out in the next newsletter, we'll send out a RSVP to that event. If you guys want to come in and check that out, that'd be great. Other than that, we do this every month. So if you're not, I think all of you are on the invite already. If you're not, let me know. I'll get you guys included in the monthly. And we're gonna introduce a topic early, maybe 2 weeks before the event, and that'll give you guys a chance to think it through, what you're doing, do a little research, come in a little more prepared. Like today, I think today's conversation was phenomenal, and I would love to have some more of these type of conversations where we can all learn from each other and grow as a community. So,
Calvin,
all right,
I'm
yeah.
hoping we're going to have another one of these. And I think you're right. I think if we're all invited, it would be great for us to just come at it and say, hey, I tried something. We got 30 days to try something.
There you go. There you
Every
go.
one of us need to do something and then come back and let's see what we did. Let's see what happened. I think that's
That'd
a
be cool.
great
I like that a
challenge
lot.
for everybody
I like
on
that
the
a lot.
call.
Yeah, let's step up
So
our skills.
And
so maybe
and
what I'll
let's
what I'll
do
do
that.
is go ahead.
Let's do that, and let's also include the people that were a little quiet today. I'd like to hear from them as well.
For sure. So yeah, I like that a lot. I think there's enough going on in the world of AI where if we touch base once a month, there's a lot that can happen in a month. So I like it. Let's finish it off there. Y'all have a great weekend. I appreciate y'all coming out once again, and I'll send out an invite. Look for our newsletter, and if you're interested,
Before we hang up,
it out.
I would love to add everybody on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
I've loved this conversation.
I put out some invites, so you'll see this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but how do we get a list of everybody? Oh, it's on the invite. I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Great idea. I hope nobody minds. I'm going to do the same thing.
Of course.
Okay. Very
All right,
cool.
y'all.
Thanks, everybody.
Y'all have a,
All right.
All right.
great
Thanks,
weekend.
everybody.
Great
Next
conversation
week,
today.
if not certainly next month. Y'all take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.